Senator Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas, is in focus now. I want to start off with the words from the president that we showed just moments ago, Senator. I will do anything within my power to make sure that vaccine and mask mandates don't happen. He didn't believe in them. What happened? Has he lost his power?
I think Joe Biden has seen those polls you just cited, Harris, declining rapidly for his job approval and especially his handling of the coronavirus. And that's why he's broken his promises to impose these mandates that are almost certainly unlawful. OSHA is a workplace safety and health agency. They typically regulate things like asbestos or the height of ladders, not the individual health of workers, and probably counterproductive as well. We've all seen the stories about ships piling up outside the Los Angeles ports or trucking companies not having drivers. We see that when we go to the grocery store, when parents are shopping for Halloween costumes or Christmas gifts. How many of these workers are going to quit working who are currently working in very strained conditions because Joe Biden wants to turn their bosses into his COVID police? So this is not only an unlawful mandate, but a counterproductive and unwise mandate as well.
Are you in your state, Senator, seeing what we're seeing here in New York? And that is just a befuddled nature financially of businesses to try to figure out what the president is really trying to do here. These are not big corporations necessarily. This is down to 100 employees. This hurts the mom and pop operations who may not be able to hire literally a vaccine checker at the door.
Yeah, I've heard it from across the state, Harris. These are oftentimes small and mid-sized businesses. As you say, they're oftentimes family-owned. They have competitors who are smaller than 100 employees, so in a very tight labor market, workers who don't want to abide by Joe Biden's mandate can simply walk down the street to a new company, sometimes getting higher pay as well. Meantime, these employers are going to face thousands of dollars of fines if they don't act as Joe Biden's COVID police, all directly contradicting the promises he made, not just in the election, but after the election as well.
Real quickly, because I've heard you speak a little bit about this and I want to go deeper. What is the real argument here? Because the way the White House makes it sound, it's people versus the vaccine. Is it more about people not wanting to be told what to do? Many of them are getting vaccinated and have been. So I really want to drill down to what the fight is about and whether or not the president honestly believes that this is how you fight from his point of view.
Well, Harris, I think you're onto something. First, America has a spirit of individualism going back to the earliest days and stretching through our pioneer and frontier days and to the 20th century when we helped spread freedom across the world because of that American individualism. And the idea that the federal government is going to mandate that adults take a vaccine really is without precedent in our country. But also the mandate is overbroad as well. It makes no accommodation, for instance, of people who have had coronavirus and who have natural immunity, which many studies demonstrate is actually stronger than the vaccine itself. So the mandate is not only kind of bucking up against that spirit of individualism, especially when it comes from the federal government, not our state and local governments, but also by the fact that it's overbroad. It doesn't account for people's individual health circumstances, whether they have already had the coronavirus or whether they have certain health conditions that they're worried about taking another vaccine, or they commonly have adverse reactions to other vaccines as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about how underestimated some of these topics are for the president. I guess there's not much that needs to be said when you look at those poll numbers. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and 10 other Republican governors now are speaking at the southern border, and they have laid out a plan for getting the border crisis under control. Those governors also are lashing out at the president's failure to secure the border. Let's watch a bit of that.
President Joe Biden has caused a humanitarian crisis and chaos on our border. All Americans saw exactly what happened in Del Rio, Texas just last month. And the governors also are adamant that while President Biden may be silent about this and may not be taking any action whatsoever, we are going to act in his absence.
Meanwhile, new polling, well, here are the numbers. 67% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the border crisis. This comes as a new caravan of more than 60,000 people making their way, and we found this out from Panama officials, all the way north through several countries to get to our southern border. Senator.
Well, Harris, these governors are rightly frustrated because it's the federal government's responsibility to protect our nation and to secure our borders, yet Joe Biden has opened our borders from the very beginning. Early reports in October suggest that October could be the biggest month yet, maybe more than 300,000 migrants crossing our border who have no legal right to stay here, who are coming here without being vaccinated, while Americans are being told by Joe Biden they have to get the vaccine, or Americans coming back from overseas, flying into our country, are being told that they have to be vaccinated as well. And I know that not all these governors come from a border state, but at a time when we had 100,000 Americans die last year from overdoses, almost all of which died from drugs coming from Mexico, where we constantly are finding criminal gang members crossing our border. Every American state is a border state. Every American town is a border town, and they are all suffering because of Joe Biden's open border policies.
The White House perhaps fashioning a new definition for the word American? That's a question. We'll talk about it another day. Senator, thank you for your time. Thanks for being in focus.
Thank you, Harris.